before we get very far into our next story, we do have a warning for you tonight. What you're about to see and hear may not be suitable for children. Tonight, take a walk in their world.
You're live. Wow, that ended fast.
Good evening, everyone. Before we start the Unfuck It discussion tonight, we are going to do a little Transpicuous news update. We're going to talk about the geomagnetics again. So, if you haven't been seeing what's going on, I've put out 2 geomagnetic updates in the last 3 days because craziness has been happening. I'm just going to do another brief one because I promised everyone I'd keep them up to date on how it's playing out. I'll take you to the screen share. Why am I not seeing the screen that I want? Hold on, guys. Sorry. Apparently, okay. My screen share is being retarded. We'll go here. Not going to go. There we go. Okay, so as an update for those who haven't been paying attention, since about July 1st, we have had crazy, insane stuff going on in the magnetopause, which is this graph right here. This line here is our magnetopause of the planet. You have the sun is over on this side, solar winds are coming in this direction. Black circle is a filter over what represents Earth, with the white half of the circle representing daylight, the black half representing night. We have been seeing epic insanity. I'm not going to go back and show you how crazy it got because I did that in the previous geomagnetic updates. I'm going to take you through from today. Things started to calm down last night at around midnight, so the 2nd of July, UTC. Now I'm going to show you though, while it calmed down a bit, we still had all the hot spots appearing on the backside of Earth. And when we go forward here, I'm going to show you, you can see again, you can see these massive hot spots that are appearing on the reverse side and the full circle around the planet where we have extremely high density particles. Now, I'm going to bring you through till about, you can see, even though it's calmer, we're still getting compression at the front and here on the south side. And you'll see as we start getting toward closer to noon, the compression starts up again. And you can see the hits are coming in and the whole magnetopause is being pushed in towards our planet. And you can see the compression lines coming in again. Again, nowhere near what we saw over the last 2 days, 3 days, but still substantial shit going on. Now I'm just going to take you through to, this is the latest I've got is at 1700. Most of what we're seeing is the main frontline compression here, pushing the entire magnetopause towards the planet, and we're getting the distortion down here at the south pole end. So I'm going to take you over here and show you the magnetosphere. You can see we're going in just before midnight last night. Again, we were having some epic hits coming in, and you can see all the confusion. Now, I'm going to just fast forward through. You can see it starts to calm down at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, stays relatively calm for a few hours until we get 8 o'clock as the first blast comes in. And I'm going through these really fast, guys. 11 o'clock in the morning, the big blasts come in, and we start seeing the expansion here of the closed magnetic lines. Now I'm just going to hit play, and you're going to see as this keeps going, it remains relatively stable until noon. Noon, you can see the big blast coming in, blowing everything out. You can see the compression down here where it's pulling the red closed cap lines, really pulling them far down to the south. Now as we get a little later in, you can see it starts severing, all the magnetic lines start going. And it's just blast after blast until about 2, 3 o'clock. And unfortunately, we can see it's coming in again. Whoops, sorry. Let's go back. No, back here. Just as the feed cuts out, you can see it's starting to expand again with more big blasts. This is the thing, though. We're seeing this really dense southward pull. Well, even as you look back here, I'll show you. There is, come on. Oh, my computer is really not being helpful today. You can see the pull, pulling everything down here to the south. Yesterday, the red lines were coming out, curving, and being pulled directly south again. And we had about 8 hours where the south magnetic polar cap lines, these ones, the black lines that you see here, disappeared for about 6 to 8 hours. There just was nothing. Everything was being pulled south. Now here's the thing. Solar wind stream has, again, as I said, hasn't risen. We've been sitting at 300-400 to get 500 there. Okay, 500 tops. But it hovers in the 300 to 400 all the way through. We get a little bit of a raising here as we're coming into around 1800 tonight. Hits 500 again, mid to low 500s. It's not the solar wind stream. It's not the solar wind stream. You can see here, this is looking at when we had the big spikes, the massive spikes in the magnetopause. We saw a couple little spikes, but that's under 450 kilometers a second. Just to put it in perspective, when we were talking about the massive blasts that we saw in January, the solar wind speeds were hitting 1,900 to 2,200 kilometers a second during that. So just to put that into a perspective, the highest spike we have is less than 450. Over here, again, it's raised a little bit between 6 and noon, and again coming up now to 6 p.m., but it's less than 400 on the streams. We have no geomagnetic storms, none whatsoever. It has been extreme calm geomagnetically. The Schumann, we've had one blast that started right around midnight. Now this is not UTC, this is Tomsk time in Russia, which is 7 hours ahead of UTC. So this would have been, this blast would have started around 11 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time on the 2nd. But again, short-lived blast, doesn't line up with anything else that we saw. This is the craziness. Now, hold on, I just want to see. Yeah, so same thing, no solar flares. Solar flares have been absolute, no X-rays, nothing. So, again, we have all of this warbliness. What the hell is actually going on? It's not solar wind stream. We do have a coronal hole that is just turning to face Earth. It's not that big. And like I said, we're seeing on their own graphs, there is no solar wind stream that's coming in from that coronal hole that could be the cause of what we're seeing on the magnetopause. Now, what's interesting is, hold on, I forgot, I closed the share. I'll pull this back up again. Here we go. I'm going to take you over to look at this. Came out in June 26th. Highest energy photons ever recorded. Now, the original paper came out in June 13th, this one. They were detecting high energy protons that were coming in at 100 TeV. Now, to give you an example, just to put it again, to put 100 TeV into perspective, when CERN fired up in April of 2015, and we found out that they were going to be pushing the LHC collider to 13 TeV, people lost their minds, freaked out. That is how powerful it was. People were literally like, this is insanity. 13 TeV is insane that you are playing with particles at these speeds, at these energy levels. shouldn't be done. These protons that were discovered were coming in at 100 TeV. Never been seen before. Now this is early June. Is this a fluke? Is it a fluke that they just happened to somehow capture these? They were at the right place at the right time, looking at the right graphs, and they saw these photons coming in. Or is it an indicator of that's the kind of energy levels that are currently coming in and bombarding the planet? Okay, now the other one that I want to show everyone is this. Guys, I talk about UVA, UVB, UVC, especially when I talk about the C60. Okay, this is another paper. This is now the second one that's come out. Independent scientists getting together and proving that UVB and UVC are penetrating the atmosphere to the ground level. And this is huge because science, mainstream science, has tried to deny this for years. They have tried to deny that UVB, only a tiny fraction, less than 5% of UVB rays, ultraviolet rays, actually penetrate to the ground level. And no UVC. That's their whole thing. No, UVC does not penetrate the atmosphere. It does not. Well, guess what? This is now the second paper to come out and say, hey, boys, yeah, it is. So is this what we're looking at? Are we looking at a case of we have new energy particles coming in that we may or may not have the measuring sticks to be able to measure? We're looking at these ultraviolet readings that obviously we didn't have ultraviolet readings 400 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, to be able to give us a scale. Is this part of the grand solar minimum, that the ultraviolet, because the Earth's magnetosphere drops so low in power that all this ultraviolet comes flooding in? Or is it something new? Is it something new? We don't know. All we know is that A, the talking heads aren't talking about this stuff. They're decidedly silent on all of these things. And the graphs that we have are not accurately showing us. We're seeing the causes. We're seeing the effects. The magnetopause crunching right in is an effect. We're seeing the effect of something hit it, but we don't know what it is that is hitting it. But we have insane weather. We look at the insane weather. Look at how the craziness of the last 6 months, especially. Here in the Mediterranean, where I am, Mount Etna just blew yesterday afternoon at 2 p.m. It's the second eruption in less than 32 days, which is unheard of. And less than 12 hours later, on the one of the other islands, southern Italy, Stromboli just blew. This today. It blew about 9 hours ago. We have these earthquakes, and we are having the volcanoes going off, et cetera, et cetera. We know that there are magnetic links. We know that when we see certain things going on in the magnetopause and the magnetosphere, that we know that there are people, not mainstream scientists, who are watching these things and then accurately predicting where we're going to see the next major earthquakes happen. There have been, for example, a huge amount of sinkholes opening up again in the last few weeks again. And it's been a buildup, but in the last few weeks, there's been major sinkholes where they've just, all of a sudden, the ground just drops away. There's like 4 of them in the States this last week alone. When we have all these events going on, and the mainstream isn't talking about it, they're not giving us any clue other than the usual global warming bullshit. We have to start, like I say, we have to do the research ourselves. It's all we can do, is bring people together and start trying to look at this stuff and try and figure out what's going on. But that's what I wanted to show you. I promised I'd give you guys another update. I'm still watching the graphs every day, really, really closely. If anything new happens tomorrow, I will put out another update tomorrow. But that's it for the geomagnetic update.